We're gonna talk about black extraterrestrials today. Melanin-dominant extraterrestrials, but black extraterrestrials, we can use that term too. But that's because, no one really talks about it. It's not easy to find information about it. So I thought maybe we'd just go over the small things that I do know and what sectors of space actually contain melanin-dominant species. And just kind of touch on that a little, maybe some resources. Yeah! Salutations. Let's talk about melanin-dominant black extraterrestrials, or ethnic extraterrestrials, alright? Personally, for myself, during my encounters, I've talked about charters. I haven't encountered a charter that was definitely melanin-dominant, alright? But the amount of people that have encountered melanin-dominant black extraterrestrials seems limited, at least that we hear about, alright? And also the resources and material about them is kind of limited. So what I want to talk about a little bit is maybe the sectors of space that are actually populated with melanin-dominant experiencers, alright? Let's start off with the Pleiades, alright? And everyone knows that I and others have problems that all the Pleiadians seem to appear to look like Fabio, a joke that I went with for some time, alright? But in reality, I found out through Peter Maxwell Slattery, my Australian friend. We did actually a video on his SETI that dealt with this, that where a lot of the Aboriginal elders are coming forward with relics to also support this, that say that not just are they the original people, the original blacks, the original melanin-dominant, that they started in Australia, then migrated to Africa and other places, but that also they were seeded here from the Pleiades, and they were made in the Pleiades image, and that the original Pleiadians here were black and looked as the Aboriginals do. So that is big. That's huge, but that's something that you're not hearing about a whole lot. Alright, so that means not just in Pleiades, we also have a wide range of ethnicity there, alright? And especially the first ones that came from that region to populate the earth, alright? So that's one sector of space we can look at now as being melanin dominant to a degree also. There's blues there, there's maybe whites and other things, but we know that they're melanin dominant beings there as well. So that's addressed. The next place, and this is one of the things I just put up here, a book called The Thenobia Prophecy by a gentleman named Des Marquet. Very good book, actually, that few seem to have heard about. I read it many years ago, but in this book he talks about beings that claim to be from the constellation Centaur. Alright, and in the constellation of Centaur you've got three species, one which is melanin dominant as in blacks, alright, and you have another that are Polynesian looking, and another that looked of Chinese descent. Okay, and all that came here and helped populate Earth, alright, before the things that we're hearing about currently, alright. And when it comes to the Polynesians, you see some of the Olmec, not just the Olmecs, but the Easter Island statues. Some of them were claiming to be those beings, the Moas. Some of these were them too, alright. But also interesting, in this book, they describe also another species that are from that area of space in Centaur that are called the Bacterianians. And actually I just showed a picture of one of them, Theo, and Theo was supposed to be, that species are actually androgynous hermaphrodites, alright? So actually he was on this ship and he's saying, it's a ship of all women. We're going to this planet. I wonder, is their whole planet women? And they tell him, actually, there are no women here. And he realizes they're hermaphrodites when they tell him that, but he didn't recognize that some of them had certain chin attributes and certain shoulders and things that could tell him that, maybe they were androgynous. So it makes you wonder how many people incarnating right now claim to have past life memories of something similar to that. of being a hermaphrodite, androgynous. It's very interesting and definitely food for thought. Okay, so that's the constellation Centaur. We've dealt with that. Let's jump over to Sirius, all right? The Sirius constellation. Most people are aware of that because of the doggone exposure that has come on that, all right? But you've got the Nomo from there. And a lot of people are unaware that the Nomo were actually purported to be black. Many of them dreadlocked, all right? So in that type of fashion. So that's like the Mer people. And a lot of people have starting to experience that vibration right now. And I've heard a lot of experiencers telling me about encountering some type of black Mer people, all right? So that is the Nomo. We're mostly familiar with that one, I think, all right? Another one let's definitely talk to also is Vega, constellation of Vega. And I think Vega may be a place that you have a whole lot of life. It's a very big system, all right? But you've got a lot of ethnic melanin-dominant species there. And my understanding is that from other galaxies that isn't local Milky Way, that you have dominant races that come, melanin-dominant races that come here, and a lot of them will stop in Vega, or Vega is like kind of a jumping point. So that's something to think of, kind of the way Lyra is described for other beings, all right? So that's one. Now we're going to take this to something different. I want to go over a species that's reported to be interdimensional, as opposed to coming from sectors of space that we'd be aware of, okay? They're interdimensional. And that is something you haven't heard about a lot, and that's the black praying mantis. And when I say black praying mantis, not just melanin dominant, jet black praying mantis, larger, that are reporting to have light coming from their mouths. Now with them you have a hybrid project they have done, and certain hybrids they have with humanoid form, all right, black humanoid form. I showed a picture. There's a gentleman, Daniel, I think he talks about them also. I heard experiencers talk about this too. Some of them even have a triangle on their forehead there. So anyway, but the thing about them that is different, being hybrids with praying mantis, is that they have an extra joint in between the wrist and the elbow, all right? And also an extra joint probably between the hip and the knee and the ankle, kind of around the calf actually. So in that way they're jointed a little different than us, but you wouldn't recognize that if they have on these suits, these outfits that look almost like some of the suits that the Moors wear. So I showed a picture of one of them. Several contactees have told me they've encountered beings that look similar to that, brothers from somewhere else. Anyway, in the way of these praying mantis hybrids, all right, something different about them is that upon encountering them, it's their communication initially, their way of saying hello is a very intricate dance. A dance that looks similar to like an advanced Tai Chi of some type, but even more than that, and they have movements in a way that people aren't capable of moving, all right? And I think it maybe, I don't know, maybe like a day-long way of saying hello, but it makes experiencers that encounter them want to try to mimic their movements also, and it's very hard to do, all right? That brings us into something else, which is the amount of experiencers and contactees that have reached out to me and told me privately, I've encountered black extraterrestrials, melanin-dominant extraterrestrials of some type. And at first they were nervous to talk about it. They'd only do it privately, all right? But when something I see through each of these encounters is they all say the same thing. They didn't seem to like me very much. They didn't seem to like humanity. I think that's exactly what we're dealing with. This isn't a pleasant place down here. And if you're beings from a higher vibration, maybe you don't want to deal with humanity here. But now things are becoming galactically, us about to become a type 1 civilization. Maybe they're having to interact again. But no one talks about that. No one talks about the fact that the beings that are called the Anunnaki so much now, Anunnaki this, Anunnaki that. No one says they were black. That's what they were. So the giants that were here in the cycle before, more black people. So these are things, just quadrants of space. The last thing to deal with here when dealing with black extraterrestrials is inner earth beings, all right? What's called the ebenoid races, all right? The ebenoid races. And you've got several things. There's a gentleman that has a YouTube channel called Big Head Scientist. Check him out. He's got tons of information on there on Yashmiel and the others that are the Inner Earth princes, all right, from some of these ebenoid races, and kind of what happened there. So that's a very interesting. Check that out, because a lot of that can be correlated to certain African tribes right now that have quite a similar cranium structure, all right? So these are things that can be actually proven to a certain degree. So do the research on it. I want to thank everybody for watching these videos, for listening here, because there's a great deal of the UFO community that doesn't like it when I mention that I'm black and I'm into black extraterrestrials and melanin research, but I'm also pro-God, so I'm pro-people, all right? But at the same time, these things have to be known, because when I was a kid and I was having these weird experiences, I didn't see anybody in the media that looked like me, except for maybe Barney Hill, and he was getting abducted. So he had an abduction. So now thinking, oh, do I have screen memories? And I had to go through all the virtual reality stuff and try to deal with that, although the fact I had positive encounters. So anyway, wanted to deal with that. God bless all of you. Thank you. Please subscribe to the channel. Put a like on this if you like what's going on here. I hope this puts some light on this in some ways. Sorry, I went over time and I missed something vital. The Andromedan females, which appear to be long, dreadlocked black females standing about 7 feet tall, all right? Some of them may be androgynous also. My friend Floorburn, that I've done a couple of those shows on Thursday night with, a black female and contactee, very knowledgeable, melanated contactee, she talks about them quite a bit, all right? So check her channel out. She's on mine here. Anyway, Andromedan black females. Want to make sure that that was noted, and that there's some quadrant of space there, a sector of space that we're involved with right now that's showing up, and you're seeing a lot of them in the media right now, like Michonne from The Walking Dead, and also Guinan from Star Trek, all right? Look at the sisters that have the dreadlocks that are very powerful, almost warrior type, and also very knowledgeable. So check that out. I'm sorry. Peace out.